10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Hello and welcome to our Duxford Battle of Britain Memorial Air Show special programme, where this week we have got some great interviews coming to you from the pilot of the B-17, the Sally B, and also from the pilot who flies the PBY Catalina, plus loads more great stuff coming up on tonight's show.
We'll start the programme though by going outside when we first arrived here at Duxford, and Carlos, it's over to you.
Well, welcome to a breezy Duxford Battle of Britain Memorial Air Show Day. Well, it's safe to say that we managed to get through. The traffic wasn't too bad, and the cloud is, well, it's not too, it's here, but it's not too bad. It's nice and high. Sunshine, we may well get some this afternoon, and there is a storm on its way, but it hopefully will not get here before the time we have the air show this afternoon. We have got a fantastic backdrop behind us here. It is absolutely stunning, and you can probably hear the swordfish just taken off behind us there. But Nev, thanks for travelling down from sunny Buckinghamshire.
Yeah, it wasn't very sunny this morning, I must say, but I'm hoping this cloud is going to stay quite high, although I have got the raincoat because I think we might be in for some rain about 3 o'clock, something like that. But what a great lineup of Spitfires and all sorts of other aircraft there. Really impressive, isn't it? As usual with Duxford, they put on a great show.
So Matt, obviously we travelled together today from sunny Bungay, or not so sunny Bungay this morning.
No, it was very sunny this morning, actually, as I say. It's going to be a really nice day, and it's slowly got worse the nearer we got to here. But I have to say, this is, I'm sure Nev will do a bit of a sweep here, but I've never seen so many Spitfires all lined up together in one place, and I think there is a hope that they're all going to be in the sky at the same time. This is going to be quite a magical
I think
moment.
The question, what everyone wants to know, is that for someone who's not heavily into aviation as yourself, but you know stuff, because we know you know stuff.
more by luck than judgment, I think. Yeah.
How is this for you, this background that we've got behind us here?
Well, although I don't know a great deal about aircraft, as we know, I mean, that's the whole reason why I'm on the show, isn't it? That's the point. The thing for me is I've always loved my history. So however you look at the heritage, essentially what we're looking at is, sort of 50, 60 years of just history. So even if you are a plane lover or not, I don't think it matters at something like this, because it's just mind-blowing, isn't it? You've got these beautiful aircraft.
Merlin engine service operative will be busy today. With his
sure
oil and filter changes and spark plugs and what have you. Yeah.
Is there still one? I mean,
well, we've obviously got the Sally B, which is just behind the camera there, and the Catalina as well, which I'm sure we'll see not just on the ground but in the air, fingers crossed, as well today. The Lancaster is due to do a flyover this afternoon as well with the Sally B, and I think they're going to try and get a formation together with the Spitfires and Hurricanes that are behind us, which will be absolutely fantastic.
Can you imagine if they get all of those Spitfires and the Sally B and the Lancaster all together? That'll just be. I hope I've got everything crossed that might be what they've got lined up for the finale, because they've been a bit tight-lipped about it, haven't they, so far? But I guess that's concerns over the weather, isn't it?
What are you hoping to see, Nev? What's going to be the highlight for you today? Obviously, we've got the B-17, the Catalina, the Lancaster should be here this afternoon. What are you looking forward to seeing personally coming over?
Well, actually, I'm just looking over there and I'm seeing fish and chips, the bar, coffee and Cheerios, and some other burger business as well. Now, when it comes to aircraft, obviously the highlight for me is going to be the Lancaster and the Sealy Spitfires. And also these very slow aircraft as well, just seeing some of the stuff taking off earlier on at about 60 knots or something like that, and they are extremely slow. But no, it's always great down at Duxford, and really looking forward to seeing some of our listeners and viewers as well who are going to join us.
A few of them are gathered round already. We'll have a chat with them later on, I think.
But the good news is we have got a breeze, but I have just noticed it is blowing downwind on the runway, so there's no crosswinds or anything, so they should have a fairly easy job at taking off.
Don't talk it up.
But it's going to be a great day.
Yep.
And it's great to have nearly all the team here. Obviously Armando found it a bit of a struggle to get here in the Piper.
Really?
Although he'd find it easy to land.
Anyway,
here.
Look, enough of this. I haven't eaten for like 15 minutes. Like, I'm starving. Come on.
Right, so we've got loads of great stuff to bring you from the show today. We're going to pop that all into many videos, I'd imagine, that Matt will be stressed and Nev will be stressed at editing at some point. So from here at Duxford, back to the studio. Would you say?
I'm not doing it. You've done it.
Well, the next interview that we did here at Duxford was with Phil, and Phil's one of the new pilots on the Catalina. Absolutely unbelievable aircraft. And again, he's got massive experience on the 777, the 146, 737. He seems to have flown everything in the book, but this was a really interesting aircraft. And I think let's go over to him now and have a chat.
So here, standing next to, I think one of the aircraft that many of our listeners have got a very, very big interest in, the PBY Catalina. I'm here with Phil. How are you?
Very good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. So what's your role? I know you've been with the team here for a short amount of time, but what's your role here?
I'm one of the co-owners of the airplane. It's operated as a group-owned aircraft, just the same as many single-engine, four-seat airplanes around the country. And so I'm one of the co-owners, and I've just recently qualified to fly the airplane as well.
Oh wow, that's what an achievement! Absolutely fantastic. How was that?
Oh, it was amazing. I did my training in July, 2 sessions first, one day, lovely. Did my test the next day, chucking it down with rain, cloudy, windy, bit of a challenge, but thoroughly enjoyed it.
So I suppose the question is, when you're going from something obviously like training aircraft such as a 150 or a PA-28, what is this like to fly, the Catalina?
It's harder because it's bigger, there's no powered controls, so it's all manual cables and rods from what we have up in the cockpit to the control surface on the wings and the tail. And so it's a heavy airplane, it's heavier forces required, so you don't need to go to the gym or anything like that, just come and fly the Catalina.
It really is that tough pulling on those controls.
Not too bad, to be honest, Sailor on the elevator. The rudder, it's not particularly hard, but you need an awful lot of rudder. Most powered pilots don't use the rudder. Glider pilots do. This is a mixture of both. You really need lots of rudder to fly this airplane properly.
So tell us a bit about, for those listeners who might not know, about the aircraft that we are standing next to here.
Okay, so as you introduced it, the PBY 5A Catalina, to be honest, that's a bit of a cover. Technically, this is a Canso because it was built by Canadian Vickers for the Canadian Air Force. And for some reason that I don't know yet, they choose to call their airplanes Cansos. But everybody knows it as the Catalina. 80 years old this year. This airplane was built in 1943, served with the Canadian Air Force, Maritime Patrol in the war. It's been through various owners in its lifetime. Firefighting at one point, somebody bought it, converted it with the big blisters, which is where in the wartime the gunners were, to go safaris and charters. That in the end I believe didn't happen. They converted the airplane, then the company folded. And then it's been with the Catalina group now for about 20 years or so, doing the airshow circuit, trying to earn its living.
I was going to say, everything you do is funded by donations with the aircraft?
Not quite. So the owners pay a monthly contribution towards the running costs, and then we try and get the airplane to earn its living, doing air shows, selling merchandising, supporters and things like that. Most years I'm told it's pretty much break even. I say I'm fairly new to the group. And this year was unlikely to be a good one because we were delayed. Winter maintenance ran on a little bit longer, so we missed some air shows at the beginning part of the season. But onwards and upwards. Next year will be better.
So a bit about yourself. Where did the sort of flying start with you?
Where did the flying start with me? I don't remember, but I'm told the first time I went flying I was 6 weeks old, so that might have something to do with it. Always been interested in aviation all my life. I've been an air traffic controller for about 10 years, and then commercial pilot for close to 35, and I retired last year.
Wow. Can I ask what you flew with commercially?
So the last airplane I flew was British Aerospace 146. Before that, 777, 747, 737, Avro RJ, which was the updated version of the 146, ATRs and shorts 360.
So a varied. Going to this is quite.
Well, they're all the same. You pull back, it goes up. Push forward, it goes down.
So the obviously you learned to fly. You got your PPL and all that kind of thing back
Too
in the
long
day.
ago to remember.
When you learned to fly the aircraft we're standing next to here, is there a lot of training involved with that, or is it quite a nice transition from kind of GA?
Depends on the individual's experience, really. Say I did 2 training flights and then the test. Somebody with less experience probably would have more training before going up for the test. To fly the airplane, obviously you need multi-rating, but there is PPL holders in the group. Not everybody's commercial rated, but if you're just a PPL, you need a multi-rating to fly it as well, which gives some experience in twin engine. The airplane itself, because of its size, is a specific type rating for the pilot, and training will be given.
We're here at Duxford. Obviously, we've got a nice long runway here, but what kind of airfields would you say are the best and the kind of worst in the UK to try and get into with the Catalina?
Again, a relative newcomer to the group, so I haven't done much with it yet, but it goes to short strips. It's been into Old Warden. Roughly speaking, 800 metres on grass is acceptable.
And the future, what does that hold for you here and obviously the Catalina?
Hopefully, as long as possible. Engineering-wise, there's no reason that the airplane can't keep flying. Personally, as long as I can keep passing the medicals and the checks, because we have to revalidate our type rating every year, and then just keep flying it as long as possible.
So for younger listeners then who might be watching, who think that they would love to perhaps at some point get a chance to possibly fly the Catalina, and that's a difficult one, but what sort of advice would you give any young people who may be watching who might be thinking about learning to fly?
It is quite a challenge, just having belief in yourself and following it through, but the advice would be go for it if it's what you really want to do. It's a bit involved to fly commercially. We haven't really got time to go into it now, so find somebody at your local flying club that can talk to you about it. Just get involved and follow your dream.
Now, one last question before we finish. It's a question we ask all our pilots and everyone we interview on the show. Kind of put you on the spot question. Given a chance to fly any aircraft, be it commercial, military, GA, retired, still flying, in the museum here at Duxford, what would you love to go out on the field now and fly right now? You can choose 2 if you like.
You have put me on the spot. I'd like to fly anything, but let's say the Anson or the Lysander.
And so that's an answer we've not had before on the show.
Well, it's only because they're over there and I can see them. Anything.
Anything. Well, thanks for your time today. It's been great to speak to you.
Nice
and
to meet you.
Obviously, it's great to see this aircraft flying, and we appreciate you guys and girls for all the effort you put into keeping this flying, especially for the air shows and for the younger people who are watching it here today.
Well, and that's why we do it. And it's nice to talk to the crowd and chat with them and answer the same sort of questions you've been answering. Just share the experience with as many people as we can.
Well, all the best for the future.
Thank you very much.
And I hope you have a great day here at Duxford.
Thank you very much.
Flying. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
So we've had the chance to meet up with some of our great listeners here at the air show today, haven't we, Matt?
We have, absolutely, yeah. A small turnout, but all the better for it, actually. They've made the long drive here, and we'll find out. I'll tell you what, we'll start with Mr. Warner. Well, the weather is so far behaving itself. It hasn't started raining yet. I think from what they were saying, rain is expected possibly sort of between 2-3 o'clock, something like that.
Potentially.
Yeah, there's some unfavourable cloud on its way. So it does look like we're going to get some flying underway very, very soon. So we'll have a quick chat with Jonathan. You have come a very long way again.
Yeah, I like to travel.
Probably just
Done a lot of travelling this year.
Yeah, indeed. Now, because I mean, this is not your first air show, is it? I mean, there's been loads of air shows that you've been to over the last sort of this year, I suppose. Where have you been so far this year? Riyadh, obviously.
I did Riyadh. I've had 2 abroad trips. I did Rome in May for the Italian Centenary show.
Yeah.
I then did Mollis in Switzerland.
Wow. Okay.
So nice little small base in the middle of the mountains in Switzerland. So, yeah, really nice.
So let's start with Riyadh. So we'll come back to Rome.
Yeah.
And then the wonderful world of the Swiss. Actually, let's start there. What were the highlights from that show for you?
Switzerland. There was some nice European fighters. You had the French Rafale demo, which is crazy. Endless G, endless power.
Yeah.
Started off his takeoff run, down the runway, pulled hard left, straight over the top of our heads. It's amazing.
Love that.
Yeah, you got some nice vintage stuff there as well. You had the Swiss display team, between Swiss, flying with a Mustang.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of nice stuff there.
Yeah. So what would be the standout moment from that show for you?
The Rafale over the head.
Yeah.
Actually, there was also a Swiss Hornet did a
Yeah.
similar thing, high-speed pass straight over the top, about 200 foot. So.
And the ultimate question for anyone who takes lots of photographs, as you do, how many ended up on your memory card on that trip?
I was quite well behaved. I think it was about 2,000 that day.
Oh,
I did quite well.
Barely trying.
Whittled down to about 100.
Okay, yeah. So we'll go to Rome next then. First of all, how did that come about?
I've got a friend who lives in Milan, who comes over for Riyadh each year, and then I travel with him to. I've been to Switzerland a couple of times.
Yeah.
I heard of a centenary show.
Yeah.
And then the dates were released, and it was just after I was forced upon a trip to Disney. And then I discovered that there's a company in Florida that operates starfighters.
Wow.
Several
okay.
of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were planning on sending one over.
Yeah.
And the last time I saw one, I was about 10 years old.
What?
So the opportunity to possibly, for the only ever time in my life, photograph an F-104 flying, I had to do it. That got me the ticket straight away.
So what's so special about that aircraft? Why does it stick in the memory?
It's iconic.
Right.
It's just a rocket with a pilot bolted to the top.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
You ask anyone what a starfighter is in the hobby, they know instantly, and they'll all have memories of what they were like. They're not the most amazing aircraft. They like to crash a lot, but that was in service. I mean, these are flown. They fly them in the States, and if you've got lots of money, you can fly in them because they're 2-seaters. The ones.
Oh
they
wow!
operate.
Okay, yeah. So that's obviously that must have been the standout moment for you. But I mean, any other highlights from Rome?
The Italians still operate Tornadoes, which was always my favourite. We retired them in 2018,
Right.
so I managed to see, I think it was 6 there. So there was a big fly past. Basically everything in the Italian Air Force flew in the display. They had vintage stuff. They basically sort of went from the start of Italian aviation right to the end. So they had a Caproni CA-3 replica that they built. It's the only World War I bomber replica bomber flying in the world. Wow. And they flew that in the display right up all through Italian aviation history, right up to the F-35.
Wow. Okay.
So,
Very
impressive display.
Yeah, I bet. Okay. So obviously Riyadh, a big show. We didn't get the chance to go this year, but I know you've got your season ticket, I think, isn't it? Oh, you go every year, don't you? Yeah. Absolutely.
I live 10 minutes away, so
so no brainer
not to go.
No, and because you're catching them as they're coming in and also going out as well. I mean, you do literally the full.
I do.
It's like days. A week before, like literally. So what's again? Any highlights from that for you?
It was. The rain, endless rain.
Because it was certainly challenging in terms of flying, wasn't it? Because weather-wise, it just wasn't playing ball.
The Friday we turned up, especially, we got there in the morning. It started raining when we got there. As we left, it was still raining, only slightly heavier. Only it didn't matter by then because you were completely wet through.
Yeah.
All your waterproofs weren't very waterproof anymore.
No.
But
Tested.
surprisingly, they got some flying in. There was gaps where the cloud would lift high enough to allow a few displays. So
Right.
they did what they could.
Yeah. And was that all weekend then? Was the weather just awful?
Saturday, Sunday wasn't quite as bad. It was sort of more heavy showers, and you just sort of hid under an umbrella and then jumped out in the sun afterwards.
So obviously it's a show that you attend every year. Was there anything that really jumped out, if you like, obviously limited by the weather conditions, but was there anything that jumped out?
Again, back to tornadoes again. The
Yeah.
German Air Force brought over a A400M with tornadoes and did a refueling demo.
Oh, wow.
So you had
That's not something you see very often,
no,
is it? Yeah.
no, it's very rare. Their theme this year was sky tankers, so it was all about air-to-air refueling.
Wow.
So they had an A400 do a pass with 2 tornadoes. But tornadoes got the ability to do buddy-buddy fueling.
Right.
So you had one tornado behind the other, refueling, or doing a demo of refueling another
Yeah.
tornado.
See, we're talking about grey stuff. Never's already zoned out. He's playing with his phone. You see, he's so lost interest in what we're talking
So
about.
what's a tornado?
You was a tornado, yeah, absolutely. Now, we're here at Duxford, obviously. Thank you very much for coming along. It's been one of the things I said at the top of the show today. I've never seen so many Spitfires all in the same place at
Nice
any one
selection.
time.
Yeah, they own quite a few here, but a lot fly in for this show to
Yeah.
just. They do a Balbo most years where they'll just get loads of vintage
Yeah.
aircraft and fly them in formation. This year is, well, being the Battle of Britain show, they aim it around the Spitfire and Hurricane.
Yeah.
So you'll get all of them. I think it's 16 due up
Wow.
in a formation, then 4 Hurricanes with them.
That's going to be
So-
quite a sight,
Sound
isn't
would
it?
be incredible.
Yeah, indeed. Now, I didn't realise we were talking before we started doing this, because I sort of rather foolishly, I apologise in advance for what I'm about to say. I genuinely thought that all Spitfires had Merlin engines in them, but apparently that's not the case.
They changed so much between the first Spitfire, the Mark 1, the baby Spitfire.
Yeah.
Got a little, well, say a little Merlin engine, 27 litre V12. They ended with a Griffon engine, 37 litres,
Right.
and they were doing over 400 miles an hour in them.
Wow. Okay.
The noise is completely different. You hear a Mark 1 Spitfire, it just purrs as it goes past.
Yeah, okay.
A Griffon engine one growls. And the sound's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, even I can
controversially, Griffins are better than Merlins.
Oh no!
You heard it here first,
There'll be a
everyone.
lot of hate for that, but they just are.
Okay.
I always say it. They sound so much better.
But you see, I love the Merlin. The sound of, and I
The
think
later
again,
Marks are Merlins, so Mark 5, Mark 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were a bit more heavy duty.
Yeah.
They produced more power.
because I mean,
Yeah,
I've said it
get a
before.
Griffin.
I love the sound of the Merlin engine. It's so classic, isn't it? That's the thing. You can identify that noise like
Yeah.
it's such a unique noise. I mean, I would argue, do you get that iconic? Because as I say, my love
I
of
do love
aviation
it.
is to do with the history, if you like, that goes behind like the Spitfire. I mean, do you get that same nostalgic feel with the
yeah.
Griffin engine?
Yeah.
Okay.
You hear a Griffin engine sort of, especially when they're really going for it.
Yeah.
The one I saw at Cosby a couple of weeks ago, Mark 19, Griffin engine.
Yeah.
One side of the flight line to the other, just tanking it.
Nice.
Full power near enough, and that sounds incredible.
I bet.
I mean, a Merlin engine, stick 4 on a Lancaster, and you've got me.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, well, we better let you go because the flying's going to get underway very soon, and you're heading off down to what we're calling Badger Hill, shall
To
we?
the tank bank,
Yeah,
yeah.
to the tank bank, absolutely, to go and get some shots in. So thank you for joining us, and yeah, have a great day.
Enjoy your day.
So we're here with another loyal listener of the show. Richard, welcome. How are you?
Well, fine, thanks. Yep. Fresh back from Jersey.
Fresh back from Jersey.
Yeah, indeed.
So me and Nev didn't get to go to a Jersey Air Show, but young Richard here did. Now, how was it? How was the air show?
Unbelievably good. Perfect. Perfect atmosphere. Yeah, couldn't be a better venue. Hot sun. Only problem was you sometimes couldn't see the aircraft because the sun was in the way.
And I'm guessing you were in the Bay, was it the Bay Area where you were watching
I was
the air
in
show
the
from?
bay. I was just the other side of the fence from the airplane TV guys, right by the
Who?
tower. Exactly. Yes. I've heard they make quite good videos, but yeah.
But just not the content, you know,
No,
the
no,
level of content that we have. Yeah.
Nor the interviews, no.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
of course not.
So what was the highlight for you then, Richard, at the Jersey Air Show this year?
I'd probably have to say the jet pits. Really, it's just so unfeasibly wrong that it should be in the air. The way he was throwing it round, it was sort of, you're wondering how can that be in the air. Then you just hear the scream of the jets. Definitely.
If you were attending that,
the Reds were good, the French were good, everything was good about it really, but yeah, I'd say for me the pitch.
Enjoy putting on combinations of aircraft that are either unique.
So you obviously said the weather was good while you were there. Obviously last year me and Nev were there, that was slightly, it was a good day for the air show, but on the lead up the weather was on it, but you had great weather for the entire time you were there.
The whole week, it was absolutely perfect, yeah. It's perfect for a meet-up. Families could go out there. Yeah, we walked miles around the island, loads of stuff to see. So, yeah, the flying day was brilliant. So, yeah, the whole week was, no complaints.
Dave Ratcliffe is flying it this weekend.
So, the whole air show itself, how long was the display there at Jersey? Was it?
About 5 hours altogether. So, it was, I can't remember what it was that opened it. It was quick. Oh, it was Poseidon.
Oh, the P3?
Yeah, just did a fly past, nothing else, and disappeared. Then about an hour later, the French came on, and after that it's pretty constant going until the finish.
Well, we're here at Duxford, obviously the Battle of Britain Memorial Air Show Day here. What's going to be the highlight for you?
Sally B, I think, definitely. But then you see the line-up on the flight line, all those Spitfires, everything else. Anything, if it flies, I'm interested. Definitely.
And on that note, you're flying, Richard. What's going on there?
Gradually getting back into it. I got my medical back a week ago. Been doing a few hours dual, so a few more hours now, and I'm going to do yet another flight test. That'll be my third.
In the what's the aircraft of choice?
Unfortunately, I'm back to the school 117 now. My AA5 got dented by somebody else in the syndicate, so that's moved on to somebody else now. So yeah, back to renting.
Renting, which is probably the cheaper way, I think, of flying.
It is for me, especially. It's lovely to have your own, but longer term it would have been cheaper for me to rent, definitely. The only thing you don't get is the availability, of course. But, yeah.
I think that's the thing with the obviously they do the sharing thing where you buy a part ownership of an aircraft, but I think even that is not the cheapest.
No, we used to have 5 in our syndicate. They got it down to £80 an hour, but then there was, I think it's a £200 a month trip we always paid into. So you always had your £200 a month, regardless if it's full or not. But then it cost you £80 an hour to fly. So yeah, longer term, the amount of hours I did on it probably cost me a lot more than if I'd rented.
Well, you know all about that.
Yeah, still really nice to have your own.
Now, what about those other quirks?
Excellent. Well, it's been lovely to speak to you, Richard, as always, and thanks for being a loyal listener of the show.
No worries, it's been brilliant.
And I'm glad to see you've got the PTK t-shirt. Now, can you highly recommend, look at this, do you highly recommend that listeners get themselves one of these t-shirts?
Most definitely, yeah. Somewhere like this, it's the only way you can find people.
There we go, you heard it here. Get yourself a t-shirt. Well, lovely to speak to you, Richard. Have a great rest of the day. Obviously, we're near the food vendors here, which is also an important part of air shows.
Some shelter soon at this rate. Absolutely.
So from a blustery and slightly cloudy Duxford, fingers crossed for the weather.
What about the slow flying characteristics?
There we go. Thank you.
Obviously, for reasons of good preservation.
It's always nice to attend air shows and meet some very important people or VIPs. And here's one now. It's Captain Al.
A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, Al. It's an absolute pleasure to have you join us here at Duxford.
Well, as you can see by the lack of formal attire, this was a bit of a last-minute decision. And I do want to put a special thank you out to Jenny in Rome, who very kindly organised to transfer her ticket to me. So on behalf of all of the team here, get well soon to Jenny's husband. And Jenny, you're sorely missed, but next time the beers are on me.
Yeah, you heard it here first. It's going to be live across the world, see? So you can't get out of that now, Al.
Oh no, absolutely not. No. So it's a real shame that Jenny can't be here, but obviously we understand the reasons for why. So what brings you here then?
Well, you can probably hear there's an air show going on.
Oh, that's what's happening.
Yes.
Okay.
But we've had a great day. We've been been on board the B-17. We've had some great chats with the crews on there. But honestly, it's such I couldn't believe my eyes when you turned up, Al. It's a nice little treat for us all.
Yeah, just like a wart on your foot. It's like, oh, well, there it is then.
So quick catch up with you, Al. We hadn't spoken to you for a while. How's things going in the world of aviation?
Things are going very well, thank you. Very, very busy. Maybe able to bring some sneak exclusives in the future, but suffice to say, life is good right now.
That is fantastic news. That's what I like to hear. So, what's the plan for the rest of the show? You're obviously going to be here for the day, weather permitting, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, the weather's not too bad at the moment. It's set to be fairly tragic later, but probably another hot dog, and then we'll probably round the day off with a few ice creams.
Did you get to see the B-17 and the Lancaster do the fly past earlier?
They're military, aren't they?
Oh, blimey. Oh, yes. Those green things, did you see them fly over earlier?
I did actually, yes. A real treat to see. So nice to see the old girl still flying.
So you're going to head off to that place just behind us there?
Mr. Whippy. Yeah, I'm off to see Mr. Whippy.
So it's good to see. I mean, what would be the chances of another world famous podcaster turning up, while we're here at Duxford?
Next to zero, I'd say.
Oh! It's Dave.
Dave. Now, let me just pick you up on a point now. Hi, everyone. Captain Al's promises of beers are on me next time. Don't believe a word of it. I've heard that before, and I've yet to get a beer out of him.
Pip, hello, welcome.
Thank you. Very nice to see you.
Good to see you here. And what brings you here today, apart from this marvellous air show and the fact that you could meet us PTUKers?
Well, there's that. There was the vague threat of a free beer from Al, but that's obviously not going to happen. No, I'm here with my lad and one of his chums. We've come along to soak up a bit of the atmosphere, meet you guys, enjoy the sunshine, and
a catch up with you. Then what's been going on in the world of Pip and aviation?
Well, as regular listeners to our weekly biannual podcast will know, not much has changed, to be honest. I'm still chugging along at Safe Jets, back on the mighty Lemon now.
You're back on the Lemon?
I am, yeah. After 2 glorious years on the Challenger 350, I'm back on the Lemon and enjoying that. It's all going swimmingly well, to be honest. Yeah.
Excellent. Any GA flying? How's the Pipper?
The Pipper is no more, I'm afraid. I sold my share about a year ago.
I was just about to say, you didn't crash it.
I didn't crash it. No, I mean, the Pipper is still there. It's just I don't own it anymore. No, fuel prices, cost of living, all of that kind of stuff. I just thought, can I really justify that? And someone came along and offered me a price for it. So I said, oh, all right.
Do you miss
it?
Do
you know, I do. Yeah, I do kind of regret selling it a bit. There's a couple of groups I've got my eye on in a Kit Fox or a Eurofox. It's like a microlight type aircraft. So maybe get back into that into the future. But no, sadly the Lemon is enough for me at the moment.
Keeping you busy?
Keeping me busy, yeah, very busy, as usual.
All important question, Pip. Obviously it's been a few days since you've released your last show on plane safety.
It's been a couple of
Any sort of episodes in the pipeline possibly for the future?
I'm a little bit mad at Al actually, because he told me he wasn't coming today, so I didn't bring my little handy dandy handheld recorder because I was planning on doing it. I thought we could record one on the go, but I didn't. And then he called me this morning. He said, "Oh, where are you then?" "I'm here at the air show." I said, "Oh, okay." But I don't know. There'll be one soon.
Watch this space, folks.
Watch this space, yeah. Don't pin me down.
You heard it here first. Right, well, been lovely to see you guys. Thanks for coming. Obviously, it's been lovely to see you both. And we've still got some of the air show to see here. And obviously, the ice cream van is just behind us here. So
our next port of call.
I think we should go there.
Absolutely.
It's always good when you come to an air show such as this at Duxford and you get to meet up and have a catch up with one of the listeners of the show. Graham, Haley, good to see you here.
Good to see you as well, Carlos. It's nice to see you, Matt and Nev here. And an amazing selection of aircraft on the flight line as I wandered around yesterday.
So you were here yesterday?
I was here yesterday and today.
My word! That is dedication.
Well, I just needed a nice quiet day where I could hear all the aircraft without having to listen to you over the top.
Oh, right, okay. The penny drops here. So, how are things for you, Graham? What's going on in the world of Graham?
Still controlling aircraft. Still not listening to me.
Oh.
No, it's been a good summer. We're getting busier at work again. The army are doing a bit more flying, so just onwards and upwards, hoping to start approach training next year. So
you're enjoying controlling the grey stuff?
Yeah, most of it's green. It's army, it's all green and blends in with the green trees and the green grass, and you can't see it. But it's good.
But you're enjoying the job then?
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. What's sort of going on in the sort of outside of the job? Are you doing any sort of aviation related, apart from obviously coming to air shows?
Unfortunately, nothing in the sky. Still just taking pictures of stuff and eventually trying to get around to editing them and publishing them, which, I don't know, there's still something like 60,000 images to sort through from the last few years, so we'll get there eventually.
Did you visit Riyadh this year?
Yeah, did. Was there Sunday, which weather wasn't too bad in the end. I was glad to be near the car.
Yeah, it's safe to say they had a bit of a rough job of the weather this year at Riyadh, didn't they?
It was a little bit damp occasionally, yes. But no, still good displays, nice mix of stuff from a lot of different countries there, which is good.
So we're here, obviously at Duxford, Imperial War Museum in Cambridge, for the air show today. What is that aircraft that you are looking forward to see most today, Graham? What is the aircraft of choice for you today?
Best solo display I've decided for this year is Steve Jones flying the Fury. I've seen a few times now, but that was very good again yesterday. But hopefully they do the same formation yesterday of B-17 in Lancaster, which was special and very different.
Question, did the Lancaster land yesterday here? No, it didn't.
No, can't remember where BBMF based out of for the weekend actually. It might just be at Coningsby, but no, that disappeared back off and B-17 displayed.
So hopefully we'll get to see that this afternoon, fingers crossed.
Hopefully. I assume they'll do it again, but I think commentary said it was the first time in 28 years that those two have been seen together, so it was different and quite special to see them.
So we're hoping to meet some more members of the community here. I know Jonathan Warner is here. I don't know whether you saw him.
I haven't seen him yet.
No, you haven't seen him yet. He's here today, so we'll hopefully see him, catch up with. But no, it's lovely to catch up with you, Graham.
Yeah, great to see you.
And hope you have a good day and carry on enjoying the job. Obviously, keep us posted about how things are going with the approach training.
Will do.
That'll be interesting to see how that is. That a long course?
It's just on the job training, so hopefully by the end of next year.
Well, good luck with that, Graham, and have a great day.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Those of you who watch the live show on YouTube may have seen the name Sturman in the chat room, and he's here with me now. Hello, Sturman. How are you?
Hello. Very well indeed. Thank you.
Nice to see you. Anyway, I should say Garth, really, technically. Yeah.
Most people know Sturman, but
most people know you as Sturman in the chat room. Yeah, but you're here, and how's it been for you?
It's been brilliant. It's in my main favourites: B-17, Flying Fortress. What was that one?
The Lancaster.
The Lancaster bomber, flying with that as well. The Vampire.
That was a treat. I didn't realise was here.
3 of my faves, and it's been very good. Very good.
So Sturman, you're relatively new to the whole air show thing. You went to your first Old Buckingham air show, didn't you, not so long ago?
Yes, I did. Old Buckingham air show, where we saw the B-17 again. So second time now, and very happy. Very happy. My knowledge is not the best, but my interest is up there, so I'll learn. That's fine.
But how have you enjoyed today? How's it been?
That's been great. We got here, gates opening, we were here queuing, ready to get in, had a look round, went into the simulator, had a little go in the Spitfire simulator, so that was fun, that was interesting. I've only ever been on a plane, I think, twice, and that was a commercial airliner, so nothing like that. So that was a bit rockety and fun. Enjoyed that, yeah.
What about the all-important food and drink vendors here?
I mean, we've sampled a few, too many to mention, but there's a lot of choice. And the beer choice is very good as well. There's a sampling tent up the road. Have you seen that? So we had to go on that as well.
Now, the last time you were here at Duxford, am I right in thinking it was when you met our main man, Armando, from the show?
Correct. And fittingly in the American hangar as well.
Yes.
So yeah.
So yes, he's met Armando, and so you're very privileged.
I've met a few today. Yeah, I've met Armando. That was very good. And today I've met Captain Al, and who else have I met? Pilot Pip, yeah, and obviously Nev for the first time, and Matt. So,
but the all-important question is, and obviously we have to ask because the most of the team are here.
Yeah.
Is what do you think about the show?
I love the show.
P2K.
I love the show. I tune in every Friday, willing to learn more. But I have to watch the show 2 or 3 times to remember it because my memory's like a fish.
Do you know what? When our very own Matt Smith started this show with me many moons ago, he had no knowledge of aviation. But now, look at him.
Yes. Like I said, my memory's not that great, but there's key moments that do stick with me. So the B-17 Liberator is especially the one, but then I've been learning about the B-24.
B-25?
And that was what I was metal detecting and digging parts up of. I wish I brought today because there is a tent that has some finds and explanations and bits and bobs, and I think they would have been able to point me in the right direction to confirm it's what I think it is, but yeah, no. B-24.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, that Sturman actually does metal detecting on sites around Suffolk and Norfolk, where obviously crash sites and stuff, which is quite interesting, isn't it, when you look at the history and stuff, with the area that we both live in is surrounded by all these old bases and stuff from the war.
Yep. Many bases sort of just overgrown now, or they've been turned into agricultural fields where they grow crops and everything, and most people wouldn't even notice, but I got a bit of permission off a farmer and had a go, and next thing you know I was digging up all sorts of pieces and putting it all together and finding out what you got. It's actually quite, build a good picture. I just need to get that confirmation of what it definitely is.
So if you have any tips for Sturman about metal detecting aviation spots around here in the UK, just let us know, send us an email, and I'll forward that on to Sturman. But great to speak to you.
And yourself.
And thanks for watching the show, Sturman.
Pleasure. Enjoy it every week. It's good luck.
Cheers, thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much.
So we've got some great stuff coming up on the show, and the first part of the show we've got for you this week from Duxford is an interview that we took with the captain, or the pilot, of the B-17 Sally B, and it was Peter Kuipers. And Nev, it's a great little interview, isn't it?
Awesome, absolutely awesome. Really interesting talking to Peter about the, what we thought were the complexities of the aircraft, but he was very casual about it and said it was more or less a very simple aircraft to fly. He's only got to fly it for 15 minutes, so that's the way he looked at it, but it was really, really interesting. So let's go and have a chat with Peter now.
So I've been very lucky indeed to be able to be here with the Sally B, the B-17, and I'm with Peter Kuipers, who is the pilot of this aircraft. Peter, welcome to the show.
Yes, my pleasure.
Good. And Peter, now what is your role? You are obviously the pilot here. You are the chief pilot for the Sally B?
Well, that's a big word, chief pilot. Call me the pilot. I fly it today, but we got other pilots as well.
So Peter, where did your beginnings, where was your starting in aviation?
I started when I was very young, 14 years old, and started flying gliders, and since then the things got bigger and bigger, and had an airline career somewhere along, and now I'm flying warbirds at air shows.
And how long have you been flying the Sally B here?
I've been flying it now for 13 years.
So you know what you're doing?
Hope so. I've been flying similar aircraft for over 30 years, so it's not a difficult machine. It's just big and it's got 4 engines.
I was going to say, what is she like to fly when she's in the air on a good, well, on a windy day like today?
It's a big lumbering machine. It's like a big truck. It's not just a sports car. It's got 4 engines, but it does not have enormous performance. They're not made for turning. They're made for flying straight and level to Germany and back.
But you've I've just seen on your social media, you've just had a trip over to, is it France you went over to?
Yeah, that was last week. We went to Melun in France for an air show down there. Most of our flights is in England, in the UK, but sometimes we do go abroad. But due to the cost for organisers of an air show, it doesn't happen that often.
I would say, what is it? The feeling must be amazing to take this across, the North Sea, across over to France. That must be stunning, being able to do that with this aircraft.
It was. We came back last week over the channel. Nice visibility. The White Cliffs of Dover were visible. We're flying a lot higher than we normally do. And you think back about what happened 80 years ago, what those guys must have felt seeing the White Cliffs of Dover. And we actually sat in the cockpit, those guys 80 years ago said a cup of tea in half an hour, and we said the same.
So I guess when you guys are flying these, you have a flask of coffee with you or tea?
No. We're flying out, we had a couple of bottles of water because last week was so hot.
Yeah.
So you need to eat and drink a bit, but normally our display flight, today I'm flying only for 15 minutes. I can go without coffee for 15 minutes.
So Peter, a bit of the history about the aircraft we're next to here.
This machine, Sally B, was built in 1945, and then after a stint in the US Air Force it went to the French government, a company called IGN, which is, they make aerial photography for the government. It spent a couple of years in Africa doing that, and then it got sold to an English company, which in the end ended up with Ellie Sellingbow, who is the boss of the aircraft, and the aircraft Sally B is called after her.
I think that's one of the questions that people ask is, why is this called the Sally B?
Yeah, it's called after Ellie Sellingbow, and she had a nickname Sally B. She's been with the aircraft now for a long time, and it's been in the UK for 49 years almost.
Now this aircraft, Peter, was used in the film Memphis Belle.
It was on one side of the nose, you can see the Sally B nose art, the other one's the Memphis Belle nose art from the film. It's of course not the original Memphis Belle, but it played a big part in the movie.
Were you part of that filming when you were...
No, that's before my time.
The film was a long while ago, I think it's... Yeah. But obviously you're here today displaying with the Lancaster. I think you're going to get a chance to fly alongside later. What sort of challenges is there for you with the Sally B and having the Lancaster flying in formation?
Well, the biggest challenge was getting the permissions done. The Lancaster is operated by the Royal Air Force. They have very strict procedures, and that's why it wasn't done for almost 30 years. But somehow we got permission to fly with the Royal Air Force, with the BBMF, and it's you have to tick all the boxes politically with all the officers, but also later on the briefings. We know exactly what we're going to do. We know exactly what we're going to do if there's problems, weather-wise, technical, radios that fail. Everything was discussed. All the boxes are ticked, and now it's just simple do it.
It must be a great experience seeing that Lancaster flying alongside.
I don't know. I don't see it. It's behind me. Yesterday I saw it for half a second somewhere out of the corner of my eye, and for the rest it was behind me. I've seen the pictures. I love them. I know it's there, but I don't see it.
Oh, it must be a fantastic experience. I'm guessing you love your job.
I do. It's not a job. It's a passion.
It's a passion. Yeah. So, going forward into the future, what is there any sort of plans for the Sally B? Obviously, air shows are starting to wind down now at the end of the summertime.
We do air shows, memorial flights. Our biggest challenge is that we're not backed by a government. The Lancaster gets the taxpayers' money. We have to get our money in a different way. That's where Ellie comes in again. We're supported by the public. People give us small donations, other people give us bigger donations, but we depend on that for keeping it flying, and it's been flying for almost 50 years, so we must be doing something right, but the public can help and are helping.
Now, I think a lot of people have seen Sally B was in the hangar, I think, during the earlier part of the year, having all the maintenance done. How much of a challenge is it for you to keep this aircraft flying?
Well, the only challenge, I think, is money. Money buys everything.
Yes.
That spare parts are getting scarce, but you can have them made, and once again, the money bit.
And also, I suppose, that the technical knowledge of the airframe and the engines. There must be a great team with you, helping you.
We've got a good team. We've got a good team of engineers, a good team of pilots. Other people are doing the sales unit, which gets the members in, which in the end gets the money again. On the back of the aircraft, you can see what we call the Roll of Honor. And there's a panel there, and people that support us, their name goes on the aircraft. And they're basically the people that keep this thing airworthy.
That's fantastic. Well, hopefully, long may it continue, because we were talking earlier with the team that all the air shows in the UK, the Sally B, when she's in the air and you see the aircraft flying over, everyone stops to look at the aircraft.
Long may it last, but there's no guarantee. And yes, we could one day be grounded or unable to continue running it, and that will probably come one day. No, but not soon.
Not soon. Good. Now, Peter, one last question before we finish chatting to you this afternoon. It's a question we ask all the pilots who we talk to on the show. If you could fly any aircraft now, today, here at Duxford, retired or still flying, military, GA, commercial, any aircraft, and you were given the chance to go out on the airfield now at Duxford here and fly that aircraft, what would it be?
It would be Mosquito, a Mozzie, but the B-17 is a good second for that.
You can't. She's close to you now. You can't say anything bad.
Okay, I'll take the B-17.
Well, Peter, thanks for your time with us this afternoon. It's been great to speak to you.
My pleasure.
I hope you have a great show this afternoon, and fingers crossed for the cloud. I think it's just the cloud that we're worried about today for the flying.
Yeah, there's rain and hail on the way later, but we will be okay. It's later during the program. There's a chance for worse weather.
Well, Peter, wish you all the best for the future, and all the very best for the Sally B. And we will put the links in our show for our listeners to donate to as well for you guys.
It's www.sallyb.org.uk.
There we go. Thanks, Peter, and have a great day.
Thank you. Cheers.
There's some things in life that I've always wanted to do, and obviously seeing this aircraft at air shows, one of the things I've always wanted to do is to be able to go on board the Sally B, the B-17. Now, this afternoon I got the great pleasure of just going on board the aircraft with Nev as well for the show, and it was fantastic to be on board. Now, unfortunately, we weren't allowed to film on board, but we were able to be on board the Sally B and have a look around inside the aircraft, and I have to say it is phenomenal. Honestly, it's so funny when you're on board this aircraft, when you see it on TV, you would think it's a huge aircraft inside, but these aircraft are not that big inside. They are very, very small. But I have to say, I've ticked off many boxes on my to-do list or life to-do list this afternoon here at Duxford, and that is being able to go on board the Sally B. So from me, Carlos here, feeling very, very lucky indeed. It's been a great day. Thank you.
Next up, we've got a little bit of a surprise for you, actually. We were just wrapping up when a lovely chap by the name of Mike came over to come and talk to us about a little project he's involved in, which is a Supermarine Seaplane.
It's always nice to come to an air show and meet someone who may not have heard of us before, but who has a great story to tell us all about a certain aircraft. Hello, Mike. Welcome to the show.
Hello there. Nice to meet you.
And you. Good to see you here. First off, a bit about yourself.
So, my name is Mike Borrell, and I am a volunteer with the Supermarine Seaplane charity. And I came upon them purely by chance, because originally I was brought in just to do some voice work for one of their videos. and that essentially progressed from doing the voice work to doing more of the video editing, and now somehow I'm in charge of the social media and merchandise design.
So a bit about the project. What is this project all about?
The Supermarine Seaplane in particular is the Supermarine S5. Now there was several of them overall, the S4, S5, S6, etc., etc. This one in particular was groundbreaking because this was the one that won the Schneider Trophy back in 1927, and we are rapidly approaching the centenary of the victory. And the thing that was most important about this aircraft was it was designed to win. And what that means is that there was a number of very important developments that went into this aircraft that meant it set outright speed records and all sorts of different designs. And from there, the new technologies that were created, the advances in design, they led directly to the development of the Spitfire just a few years later. And it's not an exaggeration to say that without the Supermarine S5, the Spitfire wouldn't have existed. And that's why it matters.
So your project you're doing at the moment, so you are building from scratch, or you're restoring, or?
We are building entirely from scratch for want of a better phrase, a replica Supermarine S5. To my knowledge, there are no surviving aircraft, certainly none airworthy anymore. There was a replica built during the 80s, I believe, and unfortunately that one went down due to an airframe failure. And the pilot of that was one Bill Hosey, and he was well known all around the south coast because he was flying this remarkable aircraft. And it is actually Bill's son, Will, who is heading this new charity. And we have been very, very fortunate to have original designs and a really broad range of very talented individuals working together on this project. For example, a number of the guys that we have helping build the airframe, they were employed specifically in that film, Those Magnificent Men and Their Flying Machines. So we're not short of expertise.
So I'm guessing one of you has got a rather big garage.
It started off in garages, but unfortunately it had to expand into full-blown hangars and all the rest of it. But it's sort of spread around the country, and we're now starting to bring it back into one solid place. So the next stage, we've already completed the wings, we have skinned them, they are basically ready to go, and now we're working on the floats. And that's all taking place down in Bodmin. So unfortunately I've not actually been down there to have a look at it yet, but I've seen the pictures.
So what is the goal of the whole project, the end goal?
The goal of the whole project is to get the airframe that we are currently working on finished, airworthy and airborne by 2027. And the aim is then to be doing essentially air shows all around the south coast. Whether or not we're going to somehow work out how to bring them further inland, I'm not sure, because I don't know what the range of the S5 was, because it was naturally just designed as a short-range racer, and with it being a seaplane, it's not so good at runways. So most likely it's going to be touring around the coast of the UK, potentially coming into any large rivers. We'd like it on the Thames, but whether or not we can get that kind of permission, time will tell. But yeah, by 2027, back in the air. And it's not just a matter of getting this cool aircraft in the air. The purpose is to bring back into the consciousness of the UK this aircraft, which is so important, because everybody knows and loves the Spitfire, but almost no one knows where the Spitfire came from. So we want to show the country, and indeed the world, the origin of it. That's the purpose.
So a bit about yourself as in regards to aviation. Have you got a passion for aviation? Do you fly yourself, or do you just love being around aircraft?
To be fair, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a young lad that isn't into aircraft in some way, shape or form. I used to be in the Air Cadets, and I went through their scheme, so I flew in Grob tutors and the Vigilant gliding and things like that. And I've been up in a Tiger Moth and some helicopters and bits and bobs. I'm not qualified, it's all just been sort of air experience flights. Beyond that, I did intend to join the RAF, but it turned out I was colourblind, so that was a big no. So then I went and joined the Royal Marines instead, and managed to blow my back out, so that didn't go very far either. So instead of the active service side of things, I went on, and I am currently doing my third degree in military studies. I'm currently doing a PhD at the University of Leeds in counterinsurgency.
Wow.
So, if you can't be directly involved, you might as well be theoretically involved.
So, before we wrap up, where can our viewers, listeners go and find out more info about this project, your amazing project you're putting together?
So, the first port of call for most people would be the Instagram page, which I am now in charge of, and that is simply if you go onto Instagram and search Supermarine Seaplane. Beyond that, if you want to, just go to supermarineseaplane.co.uk, and that is our website.
So there we go. Give them a look and find out more info about what they're doing. And make sure you keep in touch with us, Mike. I'd love to hear how everything is going along with the project.
When it's airborne, you guys should come along and get some cool footage.
That would be great. So,
absolutely.
Thanks for joining us today. It's been great to meet you.
An absolute pleasure. Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought, exactly.
So,
but enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If I can avoid the rain. Thank you.
So we've had a fantastic day here at the Duxford Imperial War Museum for the Battle of Britain Air Show Day. We've had a bit of sun, we've had a bit of wind, and we've also... Let's not talk about what stories
You've been on the beans again, haven't you?
But we've had some great chats with pilots here. We've had some great chats with some of the staff here, and it's been a great day.
It has, absolutely. And my highlight was the burger. That was amazing. And then obviously followed up with an ice cream. Those are the rules. I believe there was some flying. I missed most of that, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, actually, the highlight for me actually was the Lancaster with the Sally B and all that. Those flights, just absolutely amazing. And then the little dogfight that they did with the Spitfires and like the ground flares and all that kind of thing. It's been a great day. It really has.
Yes, it has. And the weather held off, which is the best bit. The weather held off, so just about. But luckily, the wind didn't get too strong, so as to stop the air displays.
There were a couple of minor cancellations, weren't there?
Yes,
the Nimrod, for example, wasn't able to come just because it was just
not
over the limit.
Not the Nimrod.
It wasn't Nimrod.
No, it wasn't Nimrod. That wasn't coming here. But don't panic, Matt. Not the Nimrod.
What was it?
It was a couple of World War I aircraft that weren't going to fly because of the wind. Obviously, with those of you who watch the show will know that the World War I biplanes can't fly when the wind is as strong as it has been here, because we were getting close to about 10 or 12 knots wind speed here at Duxford, so we couldn't see those aircraft fly. But we had some great displays from some of the smaller aircraft here, and it's been a packed day.
Yeah, it has. Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, Matt will tell you, the amount of people who are outside
heaving,
watching it's absolutely heaving here. So a great sellout day
indeed,
for the air
absolutely.
show.
So that's a lot from here at Duxford. Hope you've enjoyed our little clip package, and we'll see you all live and loud next week.